Was this one in the episode?
I don't know.
Does this sounds familiar to me?
Yeah, maybe there's just a lot of people pooping.
Yeah. No, I'm pretty sure we made fun of this. Moving on. This one comes to us from Butt Quack. Nothing but quality content from our friend Butt Quack.
Butt Quack.
My wife and I live in a 2-story townhouse that we bought 3 years ago in a quiet neighborhood of mostly elderly folks. The house was built in the 1980s, so it was dated, but not very old. We have central air and gas heat. As with all houses, ours make settling noises, creaks and pops as the temperature and humidity fluctuate. That kind of thing. Over 3 years of living in our townhouse, I am pretty familiar with its quirky noises. The sound that awakened my wife and I this morning was not such a noise. It is also important to note that we have experienced other odd occurrences previous to this one, which I will describe briefly below. For the past 8 to 10 months or so, I have half joked that we have a resident poltergeist, whom I fondly named Herb, short for Herbert, if you're wondering.
Well, I thought that might be.
That might be the case. It's worth noting that neither of us smoke weed or use drugs. I guess it is worth noting that.
Is it really worth noticing that? Now we know they're square.
Yeah. What are you, some kind of square?
Yeah.
What are you doing? Smoke weed and use drugs.
Oh, they could be straight edge. That's cooler than square.
Not when I was growing up, it wasn't. Anywho, my wife thinks it's a funny joke. However, she ultimately doesn't believe in the paranormal and is agnostic bordering on atheist. She takes a much more scientific approach to the unexplainable. Gross.
Obviously, she is the smart one in the relationship.
Wow. Prior to the incident this morning, we have seen some weird things over the years we have lived in our home. We have had objects and clothes go missing only to reappear in unexpected places at random. I have walked into a room to find my shoes carefully placed in the exact middle of the floor. Wife said she didn't move them. I have seen her computer boot up seemingly on its own from shutdown state. My wife, who has never sleepwalked... Is it sleptwalked? No, that doesn't sound right.
Nope, it's sleepwalked.
That doesn't make any sense.
Well,
I have never
not reading your
sleptwalked.
words. We're reading the words of Butt Quack.
Yeah, we should. All respect to Butt Quack, I'm going to go ahead and give it the old college try. Something that maybe he should have also done.
Hey, man, don't judge Butt Quack.
Or she. We don't know. We don't know. You're right.
Did you say he?
I did.
Okay, I just said don't judge Butt Quack.
Yeah. Did you second guess yourself? You thought maybe that you said it? You're like, wait, did I assume Butt Quack's gender?
Sometimes I don't pay attention to what I say.
Oh, God. My wife, who has never sleepwalked before, it just doesn't sound right, since had a bizarre sleep episode in which she destroyed my art studio and proceeded to sleep like a corpse on my craft table. As you do. And once when my wife and I were arguing, I even witnessed a bottle of Fanta slide across. Okay, what is this? A very hip... Did you heard the song as soon as, right? Yeah, it's impossible not to. The second you said Fanta, you're like, wanna Fanta, don't you? Yeah. Slide across our dresser without being touched. However, it's been a couple of months since anything has happened for us to suspect Herb.
Before you go on.
Yes.
As you're reading this, you know how they said that they didn't do any drugs or anything like that?
I recall, yeah, it sounds familiar.
This is where we get to a problem in America with an opioid crisis.
Are you wondering why the Fanta is in the bedroom?
That's Midwest.
Really?
Midwest.
Do you wish they would have said what flavor the Fanta was?
No.
I'm picturing grape. I don't know why.
I'm picturing a different one.
No, you're picturing grape as well.
No.
I think you are.
No.
Because if it was a different one, you would have said what flavor it was. Is it pineapple? Is it the pineapple
No,
Fanta?
I can't say what flavor it is because I have a dear friend named Tom who has made fun of me for saying this color for years. And I didn't even realize that I had a problem with the way I said it.
But was I setting you up to say the word orange, Christian?
That was the word.
Yeah, I know.
So Tom would, I remember one time he picked me up at the airport when I went to visit and he's like, let's go over here and he led me into this long story where eventually I said the word and I said it the wrong way. So
you don't have to bleep out the word, right? So it's going to sound very weird. It's going to sound very weird when Tom says, hey, come over here to...
Yeah, that's perfect. But anyway, going back to my original thoughts,
Please,
these people were saying that they didn't do any drugs. But what if they just had the regular old prescription drugs that us Americans have, and that's why they're forgetting stuff and not realizing where they left things? And, you know, the wife is... And maybe the husband are mixing it with their, like, drinks after work. And
I worry that this video will never be able to be monetized because of just the amount of times you said drugs in that last sentence. It's like, so we like spice it up, like sex.
You can just bleep it out or
That'd
cut it out.
That'd be fun, right?
Yeah.
Maybe I'll put one of those, in old-timey TV, they had something would go wrong and it'd be like, please stand by or something like that.
Yeah.
But it'd be like a little cat hanging from a tree branch and it'd be like, hang in there. Like that's what I should put in me having to hit record again.
Yeah. Dun, 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 dun. Like,
yeah, some elevator music, some classic stuff. Yeah.
Anyway.
He even witnessed a bottle of Fanta slide across the dresser without being touched. However, it's been a couple of months since anything has happened for us to suspect Herb.
Herb is a really bad name for a ghost.
Herbert.
Or a poltergeist, even worse.
Herbert.
Like maybe it could be a ghost, but a poltergeist? No.
Yeah. Feel the wrath of Herb. No.
Yeah.
Doesn't really.
It's got to be Rafiki or something weird.
Yeah. Or Simba.
Yeah.
Anyway, about the incident this morning. My wife and I are preparing for... That was just the intro of the story I read. Holy crap.
Yeah. It's a long story.
Oof, we have not done butt quack justice. Anyway, about the incident this morning, my wife and I are preparing for a big move from Virginia to New York for her new job. So all of our stuff is packed in boxes with our furniture in the dining room, and we are sleeping on our mattress in the living room. The upstairs is virtually empty except for a few knickknacks.
Patty wax.
Give a dog a bone, as is basically every room on the first floor except for the laundry closet. My wife and I both awake suddenly at about 4:45 a.m. to a huge crash or slamming noise somewhere on the first floor of the house, very nearby. My first thought was our cat had knocked something over. I had that exact same thing where I thought it was a cat and it wasn't. But then I see he is stretched out against my wife like he's the little spoon. Very descriptive. I pictured that. And it's also adorable. You don't see cats in that position too often.
No, especially when they should be on guard for demons.
That's right. Which sounds like, especially now, more than anything. Weirdly, he was not startled by the loud crash, even though he is usually skittish to loud noises. My second thought was that one or more of our moving boxes had toppled as they are stacked quite high against the dining room wall to save space. So my wife and I both jump out of bed, switch on the lights, and begin searching for the source of the disturbance. We scoured the entire house, every nook and cranny. This is my dad. Never mind. No one says nook and cranny except for my dad. Okay, and found nothing out of place. No obvious source of the crashing sound. So I decided to check out front and out back, thinking maybe one of our neighbors accidentally slammed their front or back door or garbage can. But there isn't a single interior light on in any of the houses on our entire row.
Would you have tried this hard?
To
I had
look
been
for an
like,
explanation?
what was that slamming noise? And I would have sat there looking, and then if I didn't hear anything else, I'd have been like, it's nothing. Went back to sleep.
Yeah. Sometimes when I hear a noise, like if China and I are in bed, when I hear a noise, I just close the door.
Yeah, me too.
I'm like, yeah, what are they going to...
I'm sleeping. You guys can have the living room.
Yeah, whatever you steal.
Party on, ghost.
I'm tired. Exactly. So at this point, I'm feeling pretty unnerved. I go into the empty kitchen to look in the cabinets, which are empty except for boxed and canned foods, to see if one of the shelves gave out. They haven't. That's when I notice the only clue I've been able to find.
Meth.
A bottle of agave nectar, close, had been, and kudos for bringing yet another drug into the video. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Only clue I've been able to find, a bottle of agave nectar. So they obviously shop at Trader Joe's.
Is that where you get that from? I don't
You
even know
certainly
what that
can. Yeah, that's like a Whole Foods find. And if it's a Walmart find, you're probably not buying agave. Let's be honest. If you're going to Walmart, you're not buying agave nectar.
Is agave what they make tequila out of?
I think maybe. I'm not a raging alcoholic, Christian. I'm sorry. I couldn't tell you that.
Neither am I. But I know the world around me.
Okay, Christian. Yeah, sure, man. You're not. You're definitely not.
Hey, man.
I just start spreading these very strange rumors about you.
I went to New Horizons. It's all cool.
There you go. That's all that matters. Agave nectar had been knocked over, and this is turning less into a story, and it's turning more into Mystery Science Theater 3000. And I don't hate it. As a matter of fact, I love Mystery Science Theater. Agave nectar had been knocked over and was leaning against the side of the cabinet. Now I know for a fact that it wasn't like that before because my mom had come for coffee the day before and I'd opened the cabinet in question and seen the agave nectar upright then. Upon seeing the bottle leaning in such a strange way, I wondered if the sound had been the cabinet door slamming, so I gently tested it. Sure enough, the sound was very similar, and I reasoned that if it was slammed hard, it might produce the crash or bang that woke us. Shortly after discovering the cabinet, I remembered that my dad called my wife night before last to jokingly ask if we would be taking Herb with us to New York, to which she replied no. I reminded her of this, and she scoffed. I have been awake since, wondering how the hell the cabinet could have opened and closed with such force, and whether we really do have a poltergeist, and whether we hurt his feelings in saying we're leaving him behind. So, I'm going to be honest with you. Way too many words and not nearly enough action.
Yeah.
It's a very thorough investigation he did, but at the end of the day, we heard a story about his cabinet slamming shut and a story about a joke ghost named Herbert who might have been offended that he wasn't joining the crew on their expedition to New York.
And this guy basically lost sleep worrying about a door slamming.
And this was butt quack?
Butt quack.
I was reading that story for a very long time.
Yeah.
A very long time. I expected a lot more butt quack.
I expected something scary. I expected the wife to be like, "Oh my gosh, honey, please save me," or some at least trope like that. Yeah. Stupid trope.
Or just yell, be like, "Has something happened to the agave nectar?"
Yeah. Yeah.
At which point,
this is one of those stories that backs up my normal way of thinking, because everything in here is just pure skeptical. There ain't nothing there.
Yeah, very extensive search. I tell you what, if I would have heard a noise, gotten out of bed and gone and done everything, because that's what he did, right?
Yeah, walked outside even.
Yeah, so like down the street and shit. Tell you what, if I would have done that, China would have been yelling at me.
Yeah.
She would have been like, "Are you outside your mind? You were slamming the cabinet door for what, science? No, get your ass to bed."